What the committee's doing by putting out these rankings is telling teams all across the country there's no need to schedule hard teams in the non-conference because it doesn't matter. If you lose, we're counting against you. However, if you have cupcakes and you don't even play a ranked team, if you win out, you're getting in. If the committee is valuing and they're saying, okay, we're taking Alabama and Ole Miss's losses against them in Tennessee's, then why in the world is Penn State ranked number 4? Indiana should be ranked ahead of Penn State if they're using that logic. I already know when my neighbor sees this video or sees that tweet, he's going to be freaking out. But hey, man, we got to do what we got to do. And oh yeah, let me address this too. I saw a lot of people saying, oh, well, Matt, you said Missouri isn't good. Now that they're in the top 25, though, you're using that as a crutch for an Alabama argument. Dude, my opinion on Missouri hasn't changed. Missouri ain't good. They're mid at best. Yo! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Merry Christmas. Hope all of you having a great and fantastic Wednesday. If not, hope this video can make it a little bit better. And man, oh man, I hope you're ready for a rant. I hope you're ready for Matt to scream and yell because I can already feel it. It's going to happen. Do I want to scream and yell? No, but sometimes in this life, you kind of have to. So it is what it is. We're not doing no intro, none of that. I don't got time to waste. You don't got time to waste either. We're jumping straight into this. We got to talk about these terrible, and I mean these atrocious, terrible, awful, whatever you want to call them, CFP rankings. They're, oh my goodness, don't even get me started. Actually, I am getting started. They're just bad, man. Not only are they horrendous, but I firmly believe this, and I stated this last night, they're a disgrace and an embarrassment to the sport of college football. We got a lot to talk about. There's a lot we got to dive into. And plus, I tweeted out last night. Let me know your thoughts on this. So we're going to be reading what a lot of you had to say last night. So it's not just going to be about me. I'm excited to get into this video because this is one of the most interesting things that's going on in all college football. And I'm not playing with y'all. In one of the recent videos yesterday, Snee Prod said, Matt, you actually look like Megamon. And that's one strike, buddy. 2 more and you're banned. Also, this guy, I don't even really know how to say your name. Just going to say Die Hard. 1 strike for you. And, oh yeah, this one too. Dude called me Caillou. That's 2 strikes, buddy. We ain't ever done that in the history of this channel before. Nobody's ever gotten 2 strikes off of 1 comment, but guess what? There's a first time for everything. Anyways, getting back on track here, let's get down to the nitty and gritty. Let's get down to the business and talk about college football. My biggest gripe about these rankings are teams 4, 5, and 6. Penn State, Indiana, and the BYUs. Let me also ask you this. How in the world is Miami ahead of teams like Alabama and Ole Miss? Although that's one of my many gripes, it's not my biggest, and we're probably not going to talk about that too much. We're here to talk about BYU's, Indiana, Penn State, like I said. And I'm not going to talk about Oregon and Ohio State too much because that's where I have them in my rankings. I agree with that. Oregon is the best team in the country. They're elite. And Ohio State, they're really good. I personally have Texas at 6 in my rankings, but I'm not mad at where they got them. I tell you this much, though. Some of you brought up a great point. There's a legit conversation of, well, why is Texas at 3? Who would they beat? I think their best win up until date is Vanderbilt. Like I said, there's a bunch of different things we're going to talk about. If I don't touch on it all, it's not because I didn't think about it. It's just because we don't have enough time. Let's address this. I can already smell you. Yep, I can smell you, Timothy and Bobby. Run to the comment section. Matt's SEC bias. Matt's an SEC homer, and blah, 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 etc., etc. You know what they're going to say. Believe it or not SEC bias. Are you going to take my word for it? I don't expect you to, but I'm just saying the cold hard truth. I have no reason to lie about that. For a good while there, I had Alabama ranked outside of my top 10. Is that SEC bias? I don't think so. However, with that being said, the SEC is the best conference in America, and it's not even particularly close. The gap from them and whoever you want to put at number 2, not even the same realm and atmosphere. People that aren't fans of the SEC, I get it. You have SEC fatigue just like you have Bama fatigue. I get it 100%. You are sick and beyond tired of people putting the SEC on a pedestal. But here's one of my arguments. The SEC earned that pedestal. And let me make this clear because I know somebody's going to try to run away with this argument. I'm not saying we got to value the SEC more this year because of what they've done in recent years. That's not what I'm saying. I have the SEC on a pedestal this year like I do every other season because, oh, why? They're the best, and it's not even close. I can't harp on and emphasize it enough. Where do the vast majority of these 4- and 5-star recruits come from? I'll give you a second to think. Time's up, buddy. The Southeast. So let me ask you a question. Is it a coincidence that all the best high school football players reside in the Southeast and the Southeastern schools, the SEC, whatever you want to call them, are the best of the best? No. The SEC has been, it currently is, and will continue to be this way, the cream of the crop. You can like it, you can not like it. Doesn't matter. It's reality. I'll touch more on that in just a second. Let me show y'all what I tweeted out last night. I get people hate it, but the SEC is on another level. South Carolina is the 9th best team in the SEC, and they would probably beat Indiana, BYU, and Penn State. Indiana, BYU, and Penn State struggled to win 8 games in the SEC. The first part of that statement, notice I said South Carolina may just probably beat Indiana, BYU, Penn State. But the last part of it is what I firmly believe in. You put Indiana, BYU, or Penn State in the SEC, they don't win 10 games. No way. Why is that relative, though, to the rankings? Well, just hold on, partner. Hold your horses. Be patient. I'm getting there. I then followed that tweet up by saying, serious question for a video tomorrow, which is now, does anyone actually believe Penn State, BYU, and Indiana are better than Alabama, Ole Miss, or Tennessee? The LFB said Indiana would beat Tennessee. He got 40 replies, one of those being, I liked some of that crack. It's got to be good for you to be throwing out takes like that. Thank you to LFB for commenting that, and I was genuinely curious to see what all of you had to say. Kyrie states, thank you for commenting this, nope. Not that knows ball. Any combination of those three on a neutral field would have the SEC teams favored and double digit in many combinations. Just reality. I agree, and for context, I don't believe any of those 3 teams, Penn State, BYU, Indiana, beat Alabama, Ole Miss, or Tennessee in any combination you throw out there. I don't think BYU, Penn State, or Indiana beats Tennessee. Penn State, BYU, Indiana beats Alabama or Ole Miss, and list goes on and on. Frisky Dingo says, shout out to Frisky for his comment, Indiana and Penn State would 100% beat Alabama. I strongly disagree with that, but thank you for your opinion. There's over 200 comments on that post. If you want to check it out, feel free for yourself. My Twitter name's the same as my YouTube name. But a couple comments that I saw a lot of people write last night to me was, Matt, number 1, these aren't power rankings. Number 2, I saw a bunch of this one. Matt, the game's got to mean something. If you lose, it's got to be counted against you, which I do agree with. And number 3, well, Matt, Penn State's only got 1 loss. Indiana, they're undefeated. And Ole Miss and Alabama, they both got 2. And I hear you out. But to me, having 2 losses in the gauntlet of the SEC, and that's what it is way more impressive than having 1 loss in the Big Ten with 0 top 25 wins. If you don't know who I'm talking about Penn State. And if you got to ask me, I think Alabama's resume is way more impressive than undefeated Indiana's. Yes, Alabama lost. They had an embarrassing loss to Vanderbilt, which is a top 30 team. They're, what are they now, 6-3, 6-4? That was on the road, and I know Vanderbilt's not much of a road test. I've said that multiple times. It's embarrassing, okay? But Vandy's not as bad as we once thought they were. And also, Alabama lost on the road to Tennessee. Tennessee's a top 10 team. But even with that, Alabama has not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 top 25 wins. 4. You know how many Indiana has? 0. And oh yeah, let me address this too. I saw a lot of people saying, oh, well, Matt, you said Missouri isn't good. Now that they're in the top 25, though, you're using that as a crutch for an Alabama argument. Dude, my opinion on Missouri hasn't changed. Missouri ain't good. They're mid at best. But, and I have a big but, since the committee has thrown them in the top 25 for some odd reason, yeah, I'm going to use that when I talk about Alabama because technically they're a top 25 team, so that does help Bama. I don't think Missouri's a top 25 team, but the committee does, so yeah, that's another top 25 win for Bama, I guess. So here's what I'm asking you. Why should Alabama be penalized for playing an extremely tough schedule? What the committee's doing by putting out these rankings is telling teams all across the country there's no need to schedule hard teams in the non-conference because it doesn't matter. If you lose, we're counting against you. However, if you have cupcakes and you don't even play a ranked team, if you win out, you're getting in. I have firmly believed since the committee started doing these rankings in 2014, they have done an outstanding job. But this year, it's been awful. And guys, I want you to hear me out. In my top 12, I have Indiana in. They are in the playoffs. But you can't sit up here and tell me they have a better resume than Alabama and just simply they're a better team than Alabama. To go on top of that, why in the world are they ranked ahead of Tennessee and Ole Miss as well? It's for all the 3 SEC teams. It's terrible, man. Terrible, terrible, terrible. And I'll give you a great example, a perfect one. It's very similar to March Madness. You know those teams that win their non-Power 5 conference, they play cupcakes all year and they go like 31-4 and they get in at normally like a 13 seed. Yeah, they won 30 games and only lost 4, but the reason they got the 13 seed or the 14 seed, whatever it is because they didn't play anybody. It's the same logic here. For example, Duke. If Duke goes 22-12 in the ACC, that's way more impressive to me than if Belmont goes 30-4 in whatever conference they're in. And I know I've been talking about Indiana and BYU a lot, but what's up with this one? Penn State at 4? I said this last night. If y'all want to say Matt's got SEC bias, okay, I'll do this. Why is Penn State ranked ahead of Indiana? What has Penn State done? Nothing. The best thing on their resume is a freaking loss. So if the committee's telling me they value Indiana being undefeated, why in the world is Penn State ranked ahead of them? It's like they don't even use their own logic. You want to value undefeated? Okay, then value it. Put them ahead of Penn State because Penn State ain't done nothing. We'll talk more about this. You want to say Matt's got SEC bias? Here's another thing I have a problem with. Why is Texas ranked ahead of Alabama and Ole Miss? Texas ain't even got a top 25 win this year. They don't deserve to be third. They deserve to be in. I got them at number 6, but I have Alabama and Ole Miss ahead of them. I don't understand what the committee's doing. Are we not valuing resumes, which we're supposed to? Is it the eye test? What is going on? The committee's telling us right now with these rankings, resume doesn't matter because Alabama has 4 top 25 wins and they got them at number 10. But if you're not using the resume argument, how are you looking at Penn State and saying they look better from an eye test perspective than Indiana? These rankings are garbage and they don't make any sense. They're really hypocritical because they're not even using the win-loss argument either, because if that was the case, Indiana be ranked ahead of Penn State. And that is my huge dilemma with this. Please riddle me this in the comment section. If the committee is valuing and they're saying, okay, we're taking Alabama and Ole Miss's losses against them in Tennessee's, then why in the world is Penn State ranked number 4? Indiana should be ranked ahead of Penn State if they're using that logic. You can't sit up here and say we're not going to take losses against you like Penn State's, then have Alabama and Ole Miss at 10 and 11. Like, what? What are we doing? It makes zero sense. And y'all can take this to the bank. Penn State, Indiana, and BYU have a 0% chance of winning a college football championship. 0. I tweeted this out as well last night. If Alabama actually played Indiana, I'm putting my house and my neighbor's house on Alabama. Give me Alabama by 43. I already know when my neighbor sees this video or sees that tweet, he's going to be freaking out. But hey, man, we got to do what we got to do. And there's no need to freak out or worry, because if Alabama played Indiana, they're going to beat the brakes off of them. And y'all are going to see, man. Y'all are going to see. I'm sick and tired of these nerds, too, saying, well, Matt, anybody can win on any given Saturday. Not in college football. This ain't March Madness, buddy. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but in football, until you get to the NFL level, not any team can beat any team on any given Saturday. That's just not true. In basketball, that is true, because one guy can get hot and he can single-handedly win the game by himself. But in football, no. Completely different game. I hope Little Bro State pounds Indiana and rushes for 400 yards on them, because I'm tired of all this respect Indiana's getting. It's too much. Indiana's a good football team, don't get me wrong, but they ain't better than these SEC schools, and y'all know it. And the sad part about it is y'all know Indiana's fraudulent, but y'all just hate the SEC. If Indiana beats Little Bro State, I'll most definitely have to change my tone, and I'll owe them an apology, but I don't think that's going to happen. Many more things I could say. We'll end out the video here. Let me know your thoughts down below. But bye-bye.